Right, let's get one thing straight. An engine is the beating heart of any machine worth talking about. It's what gives a car its soul. It gives a motorbike its fury. It gives a lawnmower its ability to annoy your neighbors on a Sunday morning. Without an engine, you're just sitting in a metal box, going absolutely nowhere. It's the glorious, explosive bit that turns boring old fuel into pure, unadulterated speed. Or in some cases, just a lot of noise and smoke. Controlled explosions, thousands every minute. Push and pull bits of metal to make wheels turn. And that, in a nutshell, is magic. You might think an engine is just an engine, but you'd be wrong. Two main actors vie for the spotlight in the theatre of internal combustion. On one side, the frantic, lightweight, often very loud two-stroke. A simple beast, a bit of a hooligan. On the other side, the more complex, heavier, generally refined four-stroke. The four-stroke powers your car. No carrying a can of oil everywhere. So, how does the two-stroke lunatic actually work? It's genius in a slightly unhinged way. It completes its entire power cycle in just two strokes of the piston, one up, one down. On the upstroke, the piston moves towards the top of the cylinder, compressing the fuel and air mixture that's already in there. At the same time, this upward movement creates a vacuum below the piston, sucking in a fresh charge of fuel, air, and crucially oil into the engine's crankcase. It's doing two jobs at once, you see. Clever. Then comes the best bit, power. Just as the piston reaches the top, the spark plug ignites the compressed mixture. Bang! A massive explosion forces the piston back down. This is the power stroke, the moment that creates the force to turn the wheels. But here's where the two-stroke's frantic genius really shines. As the piston hurtles downwards, it uncovers two holes or ports in the side of the cylinder wall. First, it uncovers the exhaust port, letting the burnt gases escape. A split second later, it uncovers the intake port, and the fresh, oily fuel mixture waiting in the crankcase is forced up into the cylinder, ready for the next cycle. This all happens in one fluid, chaotic motion. The outgoing exhaust gases actually help to suck the new mixture in. There are no valves, no camshafts, none of that complicated gubbins you find in a four-stroke. It's just a piston, a cylinder, and a couple of holes. This beautiful simplicity is what makes it so light and cheap to build. It's the reason why a tiny little engine in a dirt bike can produce a frankly ludicrous amount of power for its size. It's a power-to-weight champion. You'll find these screaming little powerhouses in things that need to be light and potent. Think classic racing motorcycles from the 70s and 80s. Modern dirt bikes, jet skis, chainsaws, and leaf blowers also rely on this design. The downside, they are thirsty, noisy, and because they burn oil with the fuel, they are terribly polluting. They leave a trail of blue smoke that would make a Greenpeace activist weep. But my word, when you're on the power band of a two-stroke, nothing else matters. Now for the four-stroke, the engine that powers your sensible family saloon. It's a much more orderly and sophisticated affair. As the name suggests, it uses four strokes of the piston to complete one power cycle. It's a patient, deliberate process, and it all starts with the first stroke, intake. The piston moves down. A clever little valve at the top of the cylinder opens, allowing a precise mixture of fuel and air to be drawn in. No oil in this mixture, thank you very much. This is a clean-burning operation, mostly. Next up is the second stroke, compression. The intake valve closes. The piston travels back up the cylinder, squeezing that fuel and air mixture into a tiny space. This compression is key. The more you squeeze it, the bigger the bang you're going to get. It's like shaking a bottle of champagne before popping the cork. You're building up the pressure for the main event. All the energy is being stored, ready to be unleashed in a moment of mechanical glory. It's a crucial step that the two-stroke rushes through. Then, with the piston at the very top, the spark plug fires. Boom! This is the third and most important stroke, power. The explosion of the fuel-air mixture violently shoves the piston back down the cylinder. This is the only one of the four strokes that actually produces power to move the car. It's a much more controlled and efficient burn than the chaotic pop of a two-stroke. Four strokes deliver power more smoothly across the rev range. You get torque, proper pulling power. Finally, we have the fourth stroke, exhaust. The exhaust valve opens and the piston pushes the spent burnt gases out into the exhaust pipe. Once the piston reaches the top, the exhaust valve closes, the intake valve opens, and the whole elegant four-act play begins all over again. This dedication to clearing out the old before bringing in the new is what makes it so much cleaner and more efficient than a two-stroke. It's complicated, yes, with its valves and camshafts and timing belts, but it's the price you pay for civilization. So we have two completely different philosophies. The two-stroke is simple with fewer moving parts. No valves, no camshafts. This makes it light, cheap, and easy to fix with a hammer. And because it produces power on every other stroke, it has a phenomenal power-to-weight ratio. The four-stroke is a maze of complexity in comparison, with its valve train, timing systems, and separate lubrication. This makes it heavier, more expensive, and more difficult to work on. It only produces power on every fourth stroke, making it less potent for its size. However, the four-stroke's complexity is also its strength. Its dedicated intake and exhaust strokes mean it burns fuel much more cleanly and efficiently. You get better fuel economy and far lower emissions. It's also much quieter and smoother, and because it has a proper lubrication system, the engine parts last much longer. The two-stroke, on the other hand, is a messy brute. It burns oil along with its fuel, creating horrible pollution. It's notoriously inefficient, guzzling fuel and spitting unburnt bits out of the exhaust. And because its lubrication is basically an afterthought, its components wear out much faster. So, which one wins? Well, it's not that simple. It's a classic case of the right tool for the right job. If you need something small, light, and astonishingly powerful for short bursts, like a chainsaw to cut down a tree or a dirt bike to fly over a jump, the two-stroke is king. Its raw, explosive power delivery is addictive. It's the hooligan you call when you want to have some serious, irresponsible fun. It's a brilliant piece of engineering for a very specific and usually very noisy purpose. But for almost everything else, the four-stroke is the undisputed champion. For your daily drive to the office in a car, for a long-distance trip on a touring motorcycle, or for a reliable ride on lawnmower, you want the smoothness, efficiency, and longevity of a four-stroke. It's the sensible, dependable, and overwhelmingly better engine for modern life. It won the war for the roads a long time ago. So, while my heart screams for the manic, smoke-belching two-stroke, my head knows the four-stroke is the governor. It's the one that gets the job done without giving you a headache. And on that bombshell, it's time to end.